Hi, I'm Gene Triplett, entertainment editor for The Oklahoman. Welcome to Entertainment Insider. I'm here today with George Lang, Matthew Price, and Brandy McDonald, and we're here to talk entertainment. And this week's big news was this past weekend Star Trek opened at $76.5 million gross at the box office, but fell a little bit short of Wolverine's opening the previous weekend. Despite a prequel featuring younger Captain Kirk and Spock, the audience for the new Star Trek film seems to attract an older crowd that grew up on the original. Director J.J. Abrams in Hollywood would prefer to hit that magic demographic of 20 years old, but however, according to Yahoo searches for Star Trek, most are coming from the age group 21 to 54, but it's tilted more heavily in the 40s and 50s range. And do you guys think the difference in demographic appeal might account for the fact that Star Trek fell a bit short of X-Men Origins Wolverine's box office take on the opening weekend? What do you think, George?
I don't know. I mean, they had kind of dialed down their expectations in the expectations game. Saying they were only going to make 50 million, and which is kind of what you do. You don't want to fall short of your of the number that you're throwing out there. So they did quite well, actually, and also, I'm thinking that the studios will take whatever money they can get. It doesn't matter which demographic shows up. They'll take trained chimps showing up with $8 a pop at the theater. But then also I think there's something a little more solid going on here with this particular demographic showing up, because they don't show up en masse to films. And if you're getting a huge number of people in the 30 to 50 range showing up for a film, you've got something there. One of the things that people were talking about when I was out in Los Angeles this past week, and our colleagues and journalists who were out there were saying that they want to see word of mouth on this, and I think that first of all, the reviews have been extremely positive for Star Trek, and you're getting a lot of discussions going on. People are really, really enthusiastic. They want more people to go to it. I think that the people who showed up are going to spread the word on it. I think that next week we're going to see we're not going to see a whole lot of drop off, even though it's going to have some competition. I think it's going to continue to do well, and it's because it's one that the audiences that showed up and the critics really agree on this one. It's that it's a really solid film.
Matt, what do you think?
Two things in Star Trek's favor. Number one, it's the biggest opening ever for a Star Trek film. Yeah. So when you look at the history of Star Trek films, this has opened the biggest. Whereas X-Men Wolverine had higher, whether you throw it in with the X-Men movies or even with the Marvel movies as a whole, it's a higher ceiling. So highest Star Trek opening ever, that's something that's definitely working in his favor. Also, biggest ever opening for the second weekend in May. So, I mean, once you've positioned your movie there, you know what the historical records are. They've broken those. Those are two reasons you have to be, if you're Paramount, very happy with how Star Trek performed. Also, I think this could be kind of this year's Iron Man as far as the word of mouth. I don't think we're going to see it be this year's Dark Knight, because that would be kind of outstanding. I mean, they would be thrilled if it did that well. I think it's more likely to see something like this year's Iron Man, where you don't have a huge second week drop off, and it does pretty well throughout May and early summer.
Right. Brandy?
Well, one area that it did beat Dark Knight in, it was actually the highest grossing IMAX opening that we've ever had. They actually managed to surpass Dark Knight in that area. So I do think that this is something like an Iron Man situation. The reviews have been so positive. I think I read somewhere it's like the most well-reviewed movie so far this year. And so they've been really positive reviews. I've heard a lot of things on my blog, on the website, just from people I've talked to that are very, very high on this movie. I think that it faced a greater challenge than a lot of maybe franchises like something like X-Men, in that it's something that dates back a good ways. I mean, back to the 1960s. It's something that's been parodied a lot and sort of made out to be something that isn't cool. It's something that they haven't had. I mean, a series on since 2005. They haven't had a successful film in even longer than that. And it's something that's considered to be kind of an insular kind of thing, that there are Trekkies, and those are the people who like Star Trek, and those are the people who buy into Star Trek. It's not been something that's been a little as mainstream as something like X-Men. So I think it faced a higher climb to get people to come out in that demographic, and I think that with all the buzz that's been given it, you may see some of the people in those younger demographics sort of come in to the film.
Okay. Well, the summer blockbusters just keep rolling out. Next week, we'll have the next installment in the Terminator series, which George has already seen. Until then, thanks for joining us this week, and we'll see you again next week on Entertainment Insider.